Why are you so sweaty? I was watching Cops.
You fuckers thought I was gone, didn't you? That's right. I'm like Santa. Like I come, like I'm coming, except instead of fucking your wife, I just fuck your eardrums, and that's what I'm going to do going forward. And last year and the year in the past, I was ultimately just sending out these blogs, and it was great, and I got a lot of feedback. The problem is that none of you really appreciated the amount of work that I was doing for a couple laughs out of you guys. And so I was like, you know what? They don't even get the full experience of hearing and feeling my energy. And if you know me, if you've met me, you know that's kind of where I shine. And I thought it'd be really fun to do a podcast. I had podcast equipment when I was in college. Never got to use it outside of some class projects. And I was like, it's been sitting collecting dust in my parents' attic. So why not put it to use? So if you were a part of it last year, you know what to expect. Every single week, I'm giving you 8 to 12 games that I think that, these are pretty interesting. And so I'm not going to be picking bets. This is not a betting podcast. Let me put out a disclaimer. I'm not betting anything. This is not betting recommendations. But let's be honest. I could sit here all day and say, yeah, Bama's going to beat St. Mary's of the Blind, and you'd be like, yeah, Brad, no shit. But if I say, hey, can Bama beat them by 42, that's much more of a challenge, right? And I think what we want to do is ultimately do something that's fun and that's going to challenge ourselves, because we like to classify ourselves as ball knowers, right? And I'm not going to be doing deep dives, because let's be honest, you're one of two people. You're either here to just say, okay, Brad's looking at these games that are going to be exciting, or you're here to watch me make a complete fool of myself. That's it. There's really no in between. So I might do some deep dives. But overall, I'm just going to be giving you guys something to laugh about and then picking some games that I'm pumped up for. And boys, we got ball next week. It's here. We've been waiting so long for ball. Baseball that takes 2.5 hours with no entertainment. And it's basically an over the pants hand job, and basketball that you can't watch anymore. We're back to the greatest sport ever created, and that's ball. And so when thinking of what to name this podcast, I was like, well, I don't bet these games. I don't pick these games. I don't even go to most of these games. But why I do is because of the sweat. And if you've ever had a sweat with the fellas, you know what I'm talking about. When you're watching that game, you're watching I'll never forget I was at 5th Avenue in Royal Oak watching Vanderbilt at Hawaii. And if you didn't know me, you would have thought I took out a second mortgage and put it on the Rainbow Warriors. It was for the sweat. And that's what we do. I have enjoyment knowing that you guys are watching and listening and holding me accountable. And so I think, given the landscape, what I wanted to do is next week is week 0. And so going into it, I just wanted to lay the groundwork of, okay, what are we going to expect this season? So I decided to go from each conference, who I'm excited about, who I'm down on. I put together some different groupings based on how good I think they're going to do. Like I said, I'm not going to do a deep dive on everybody. I broke them into some categories. But we have no idea who's going to be good. It used to be, hey, this team, they had some guys get drafted. They had XYZ graduate that was just, a good student and did his time. Now we don't know. These teams are so different. Look at Indiana last year. They basically took up James Madison, and that was Indiana. So we're probably going to need 3 weeks to really understand what these teams are going to look like, but we're here now. And so as of right now, I'm looking across the slate. I'm looking at these teams across the board, and we're going to start with the non-Power 4, and we're going to take a lot of time on the non-Power 4. And really, the two teams to look at are Boise State or JMU. And that's all we're going to do on the non-Power 4. The ACC is so fucking ass, it's not even funny. It's not even funny. And this conference is a little bit different because everybody's pretty much the same level of ass. But some just being more more dingleberry. There's just a little bit extra on them. So the first group that we have is the ass region. That's Boston College. That's NC State. That's Stanford. That's Duke. That's Pitt. These teams are bad. North Carolina is there. And now ACC needs North Carolina to be good because of Bill Belichick. And I get that. Will they have enough time to be good given how fast football's moving right now? I don't know. Will they be good by the time Bill Belichick's girlfriend is 18? We don't know. These are things we have to figure out as we're running, as we're hitting the ground running. And so we don't know. We don't have time. Wake Forest, VTech, ass. Cal, thanks for coming. You're ass too. I mean, these good schools, I'm proud of you. Thank you for the kids for coming out and playing. You're ass. And the ACC does this every year too. They know that they pretty much have a 2-team conference, but they post up these other schools, and they're fraudulent. And so in the fraud region, we've got Florida State. I mean, no surprise there. Don't give me that they got Boston College's QB. I watched them. I wasn't impressed. Not enough for them to be a top 20 program, which they want you to believe. Syracuse, what the fuck is their mascot? The Methodists of SMU, listen, we love and we respect the church. We love them. But they're ass. And I swear to God, if I see Mario Cristobal run the ball when he should knee one more time, I'm going to shoot somebody. And I'm tired of hearing of O2 Miami and how good Miami is. Their stadium's 45 minutes away from where the school is. You want me to say they have home field advantage? I'm sorry. Honestly, I'm not sorry. They're bad. They're fraudulent. Now, I do think there's some sleeper teams. I think Georgia Tech and Virginia showed a little bit of promise last year. I think Virginia's a little bit more of a hot take. They showed some promise, and I think that Louisville, any team outside of the couple teams I'm going to mention, are going to be decent. Looking at this, I would put Cal in the sleeper region. My only problem with Cal is that they're on the West Coast. Going 3 time zones for the majority of your games, I just don't see you being that good. You being able to get up and play every game. And I think with Louisville and their NIL money and the funding they have, I think they might be able to compete. But it truly is Clemson. It's Clemson and it's nobody else. They're returning Klubnik, who, do I think he's great? I don't know. He's good. But you know what he is? He's a QB that stayed in the same program. And for whatever we want to say about Dabo, and we've always been based in the name, image, and likeness of Jesus Christ and all that shit. Like, they put together an insane roster. And when you match it up roster to roster, no other team competes. Maybe Miami, small problem. Their coach doesn't have a brain. He's great on the recruiting trail, and then as soon as he steps on the field, he tries to stick his head up his own ass, which is an impressive feat. Problem is, doesn't win ball games. That's the ACC. The Atlantic Coast Conference, it should just be Clemson. It should just be the Clemson Tigers at this point. Now, I'm excited for this conference, though. The Big 12 is going to be a shit show because I think all of the teams are going to be just good enough to lose. Just good enough to lose the conference. That's what it seems like every year. I think there's going to be a handful of teams between 8-4 and 10-2. I think they're just going to eat each other alive, and I don't know who's going to come out of it. And it's tough to say who's a sleeper and who's a fraud because of that. And when you look at this conference last year, talk about you don't know what's going to be. Arizona State was projected to be last, and they ended up winning it. Forks up. I'm just kidding. Bear down. Bear down. Shout out U of A. Shout out my brother in Christ, D. Mel. Just kidding. He's Jewish. But you get the point, though, in what I'm saying, and that you just don't know. And so for this conference, there's really only 2 pools. You have 3. You have 3. And we're going to start off with the mega ass region. You have ass and you have mega ass. The mega ass. I mean, these teams. The fact that they're still Power 4 is beyond me. Oklahoma State. Thank God Mike Gundy's 40. Houston, forget it. Arizona, forget it. The bounce house is fun. UCF, see. Cincinnati hasn't done shit since joining the Big 12. Were they in the Big 12 when they made the play? Who knows? Fucking see. Be gone. Be gone. And then the ass region. I think they're still going to be ass, these teams, but I think they're going to be a step above. Take me home to a place where I belong. I almost hit that. Kind of like how they're almost going to make a bowl. This team sucks, dude. They suck. Good unis, they suck. Now, Colorado and BYU, these are two teams that last year, we all knew were fraudulent. We just couldn't prove it. We just couldn't prove it. It's like when your girlfriend's mad at you, but you just can't prove it. Like, you know you fucked up, but you don't know what you did. You're like, dude, I don't know. She's been one-wording me, and she's been, like, violently cleaning. So there's just something wrong there. And then you find out 4 weeks later that you got her Starbucks order wrong. That's what Colorado and BYU were last year. You just couldn't prove it. And now BYU, they lost their quarterback. You're just not going to be able to replenish that at BYU. You're not Georgia, where I'll get into that. But you're just not good enough, and you weren't good enough last year. They won a game without gaining 100 yards, I'm pretty sure, on offense. Joke. And then Colorado, I mean, half the teams either in the NFL or they're busy stealing valuables in an imposing locker room. Like, have you seen Warren Sapp lately? I mean, he looks like Aretha Franklin in the bad years. That's what I mean. This guy, man, holy shit. He's on some stuff, man. I need his dealer. But then we get into the last region. And it's the dry hand job region. And so you're like, Brad, what does that mean? Well, when you're looking at these teams and at the end of the season, you're going to ask yourself, just like a dry hand job, where did we think this was going to go? Like, is that it? Is there more? Like, did we aim to accomplish anything? Because it looked like we did at one point, and then, I guess this is fine. And we start with TCU. And so TCU, they had the ginger guy. He was fine. But ever since they took the spikes off the collar, you can't take them seriously. How Baylor still has a football program is beyond me. I know some people expect them to win the conference. Once again, any of these teams I think could. If they're not inside the women's dorms, I think we're safe. I think the Cyclones will improve from last season. Campbell is the king of 8-9 wins and the king of bending his brim way too much. It's atrocious. He looks like the Japanese baseball players. He's got that V look going. I forgot. Jesus. Forgot Utah had a team. Do the Utes have a rifle? They didn't have shit last year. Their quarterback's come back for his checks notes 30th season, I think. Are they on to a new guy? I don't know. They could be good. Texas Tech has the number one transfer portal class in the country, and they got that oil money, and I think they could be good. If they're dishing out $1 million for a softball pitcher, you got to imagine they got some good guys coming in. And so it's kind of tough to say how well they're going to play together. Like, as much as I hate Coach K, he would get the top guys, the 5-star guys, and got them to play as a team. And I think that's going to be the toughest thing, is coming into that conference where, who knows, a lot of these guys are just here chasing a bag, and now they got to play as a team. Even though we're a Forks Down podcast, we love the coach, we love the program, we love the sorority girls. But we don't love the Heat. The Heat sucks. And if you're imagining, if you're trying to think of what it would be like to go to a game at ASU, Imagine having the middle seat on a 5-hour flight between the Devil's Ballsack and somebody from My 600 Pound Life. That's what attending a game is like. But they win, so it's kind of worth it. It's kind of worth it. I'd get tickets as a student. They're fun. They're fun. They're fun. Hopefully it rains maybe in the student section. All the girls wearing white t-shirts. You never know. It could get weird. I think Kansas State will win the conference. I think they stuck to their identity. They've got some returning players. I think a lot of our questions with them, once again, all these teams will have to see for a couple weeks. But I think they'll win the conference, and I think we'll find out a lot week 1 when they play Iowa State across the pond. I think they can lose that game and still win the conference, but I think just how they play, I think we'll say a lot. We saw last year when it ended up happening, Florida State lost. Obviously, we kind of figured out then they were dog shit. I think we'll just figure out a lot with them week 1. And speaking of finding out a lot week 1, I think that's just going to take us right into the conference that just means more, okay? This is by far, in my opinion, the best conference top down, okay? There ain't no off weeks down here, all right? Because even in our off weeks, guess what? We're hitting the bayou, okay? We're hitting the crawfish, okay? And the SEC is legit. I think there is no real off week where in the Big Ten, your off week is at Northwestern. Here it's like, hey, we got to go, I guess Vandy's a tough place to play now. We got to go to Ole Miss. Like, it's going to be a tough schedule for all these teams. And so I think that's one thing when we're looking at scheduling, and that's so important, is you can see a team take a step forward in this conference. They were 7-5 last year. Like, hey, they're going to take a serious step forward. But that step forward might still be 7-5. Still might be 8-4. Just depending on who they play. So I think despite the conference being the best overall, the bottom's the bottom. And MSU Junior, the cowbell people, Mississippi State, I like what they're doing. I watched the SEC documentary. I got a lot of hope for them there. I truly do. I like the underdog story, but they're just going to be atrocious. Kentucky, basketball season's around the corner. Hang tight. Vanderbilt, Nashville is cool. Pavia is a great story. It's it's tough to play backyard football in the SEC. It's tough. It's tough. This guy can't. It's not like Pee Wee where you could have the best athlete on the field and call it a day. And he's not the best athlete. He just tries the hardest. And I like what they got going. I just don't know if they're still going to be able to compete, and we can just expect a 6-7 win season out of them every single year. And then we have the SEC means more region. And this is the most frustrating fucking thing is when I hear people are like, oh, the SEC, it just means more. Your team sucks. Your team sucks. You went 4-8 and lost to every SEC team you played. It means more. Okay. I'm talking to you, Auburn. Their head coach is going to be fired. Fired. That guy, those donors are crazy. He's gonna get murdered when they lose the Iron Bowl. And he's gonna get shot. And I'm not talking about like the fake Trump shot bullshit, so like he gets like medical leave. No, he's gonna get the JFK two-pieced as Jackie O's fat ass is laying there. That's what I'm talking about. Shout out Jackie O. I think Tennessee's gonna take a step back. Who the fuck's their quarterback? I have no idea. Ole Miss, once again, who knows? I saw a tweet of, what is his name? What's the head coach's name of Ole Miss? His name, it's not coming to me. Can you pull that up? God, why is it escaping me? I should know this. I know ball. Lane Kiffin. I saw a tweet, and there's always been things about him fucking around the sororities. He tweeted out a picture of a girl's shirt that just said Pi Kappa, whatever, and he's shouting them out. I'm putting him in the SEC means more region. They might win it all. Their head coach is going to have sex before every game. They might be juiced. They might be juiced up, dude. Oh, my God. It's either going to end up in a case or a new trophy in a case for them. There's no other way about it. I think it's going to be the Prior. And then my Hogs. You know I love my Hogs. I think they're going to take a step forward. I love Arkansas. I love Fayetteville. Shout out Big Coke, B. Sharam. But I just don't see them being able to compete with some of these teams that I'm going to talk about next. And this next region is the Big 12 champions. And I think what these teams are is just, hey, appreciate it. You got stuck in a conference that, frankly, is just too good. It's too good. Oh, hey, you're a Republican that lives in Vermont. Your vote doesn't count, brother. Sorry. Thanks for coming. And there's some teams in here that I'm really high on. South Carolina and Oklahoma, I think they have two guys that could end up in New York at the end of the season. I just don't think they'll be able to take that much of a step forward. Texas A&M, same thing. They were so close. I think they'll be so close yet again. Missouri, same thing. Georgia could be a juggernaut. Who's their quarterback? I don't know. They had Sid the Sloth last year. Didn't work. And their whole team might be arrested. I mean, holy shit, dude. These guys just don't know how to not drive. I wouldn't say they don't know how to drive. They need to just not drive anymore. Give them Ubers. After one incident, you might be like, okay, let's look into this. After a couple incidents, it's like, all right, guys, we have a serious problem. After 70? Fucking hang it up, dude. But back to what I was saying. I think the top of the SEC is just insane. I think DeBoer's second year at Bama with a QB that can actually complete a pass over the middle down the field, I think is going to be a problem. I think they're going to be a distinct problem for teams, but we'll see. I think last year with Milroe, it wasn't his thing. You saw what he did with Michael Penis. You saw what they did. And now, last year with Milroe, the thing that he was best at was also the thing that he was worst at was looking to run. He could be LSU the year before he got drafted, or he could be this past year at Oklahoma where he doesn't know what game he's playing. And I think now having a QB that's more like him, like I said, we'll see how it goes. I think they can take a serious step forward. Texas and Matthew McConaughey. I'm a heterosexual male. But there is something about Matthew McConaughey. And yeah, he's corny. I don't care. And they're going to be good. People are slurping Arch Manning. I don't know. We're going to find out. He had some limited reps last year. Looked like the guy. Okay. A lot less pressure when you're the guy filling in versus being the guy. And we're going to find out a lot about him when he goes to the Horseshoe Week 1. Should it be a night game? Yes. Don't get me started on that. I'm going to get pissed. Should be a night game. Shout out Fox. What a fucking joke. Anyways, on paper, when you look at this conference, and frankly, when you look at the landscape of college football, on paper, if it were played there, LSU would win this thing bar none. LSU would take it. They are returning their Heisman quarterback, or what looks like is probably the Heisman favorite right now. I haven't checked recently. And they're stacked. The problem last year was their defense. And they're playing some good offenses this year. And also, Brian Kelly is a fucking moron. He looks lost half the time. He does. From a culture standpoint, why they hired him, I don't understand. Why he took the job, I don't understand. You're at a premier program in Notre Dame. You're an Irish Catholic from Boston who takes a job at Notre Dame, which is damn near the fucking Vatican, pretty much. And then you take a job in a place where people don't even speak real English? You went from, I'm Coach O to, all right, guys, let's get ready to play Florida today. You thought that was going to be good? When he faked a southern accent in his first press conference? My God. You went from get the gat to a guy who didn't have sex until he was married. Which, nothing respect. Just different. But despite all that, I think Florida's going to win it all. I think they're going to win it all. They're returning everybody. They've got 5 stars everywhere. Despite how tough the SEC is, or I guess, taking that into account, their schedule isn't that bad. And I think the swamp is going to be rolling. And that might be my hottest take of this, is that I think Florida's going to win the SEC. Truly. And that leaves one conference. I'm not doing the Pac-2. Fuck that, dude. Oregon State, Washington State, what are we doing? Talk to me in 2026 when you guys added fucking Henry Ford Community College. Like, whatever. You've been waiting for the Big Ten. I know my audience, and I know the majority of us are from Big Ten country. And being from the Conference of Higher Learning, I think it's good that we educate these people a little bit on what it truly means to be from Big Ten country. And these SEC, these Pac-12 folks, they don't get it. I want a game at noon between two teams that have no chance sniffing the playoffs that ends in a 2-2 tie. That's Big Ten ball. And I'm going to do this one a little bit differently. I'm going to do the different groups like I have been. And I'm actually going to do a little bit of a deep dive. I said I wouldn't. I lied. On Michigan and MSU. Because if you know me, I'm very passionate about these schools and these programs. And so we're gonna make sure that we roll into that. Unlike the SEC, I think that the middle bottom of the conference is pretty rough. And I think the bottom of the conference is, oh my God, bad. And we pride ourselves on having good schools in our conference, and thank God we do, because these football programs, fucking A. Purdue, what are we doing? Maryland, you should have stayed in the fucking ACC. But save your bullshit about lacrosse. Save it. Save it. As they're fucking dehydrating their kids on the sideline. Get out. Maybe they'll dehydrate more of their kids so they can forfeit every game. This team sucks. Northwestern, my high school football stadium fit more guys into that, fit more fans into that than Northwestern Stadium. It's just a disgrace. UCLA, thanks for coming. Wisconsin, love Madison, great area, goodbye. And I thought this would be fun. The Big Ten West and Big Ten East. We lost it. And for those of you who don't know, my buddy's he's hiding from me right now. He went to Iowa. The Big Ten West never won the conference. Never won the conference championship game. Every single year it was, all right, which team in the West won enough games to get jail sexed at Lucas Oil? All right, Minnesota went 9-3. Let's trot them out to take on Alabama in their prime. That's what the games look like. That's what it looked like. It looked like a community college was taking the field against the Philadelphia Eagles. And so you're going to have the Big Ten West where they win enough games to lose. That's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to do. That's why you got Minnesota and their head coach that dresses like he's, I don't fucking know. He's at some interview. Like, what are you wearing? A tie? But give it up. Illinois, their coach wears a bedspread. See? Indiana, Signetti. Dude, I'm going to take a sip of this. Signetti is going to do the same thing he did last year where they're going to pummel the bad teams. And they're going to lose to teams with a pulse. And you can't convince me that he's not... That guy's a psychopath. You can't convince me that he's not operating Guantanamo Bay in his meeting rooms. His team meetings, they look like They look like the green room for the Ellen show. He's going back there and beating these kids. Oh, you were late for a meeting for a minute? Okay, he's going to Stalin you. Oh, where's Johnny? I haven't seen Johnny. Oh, Johnny's in Siberia right now. Johnny's dead. Just like their program. Just kidding. They're actually not bad. They'll be okay. USC, we'll see it. I don't know. These teams going to the East Coast, I mentioned it earlier. I just don't know how confident I am in them. I'm confident in some of them, not USC. Rutgers, if I hear another thing about them being the birthplace of college football, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Congratulations, you birthed the baby. Small problem, mom was doing heroin. Oh, small problem, baby daddy number 4 was beating the mom during pregnancy. And then we get to Iowa. Like, I have a little bit of love for the Hawkeyes. And people are priming their pump over this new QB who can throw the ball 20 yards. And that's great, but I think it comes down to the system. I think it comes down to the system because have they understood and truly comprehended the downfield pass? And if they haven't, I'm not bought in. I'm not bought into it. I think they'll beat the teams they should. I think the teams that are a toss-up, it'll be a true toss-up. I don't think they really will win a lot of those. And I think the teams that are better than them, they'll get their ass kicked. I think that's how it'll go. You know the defense will play. You know they'll have a 30-year-old punter from Australia, and that's about it. Shout out the kids with cans. We respect them, though. Shout out the Wave. It's pretty cool. But then we have the Big Ten East. And these two teams is Washington and Oregon. And you're like, well, Brad, they're in the West. They're like as West as you can get. But I think what these teams are going to do is I think they're truly going to compete. And I think that these teams are going to make a case and go 10-2. Something like that. I think for those of us who went to Michigan State or Michigan, you had a really, really good season. Then you look at the end of your schedule and you're like, holy shit, we have a gauntlet. We've got Ohio State at home, then at Michigan, then home against Penn State. They're like, I think that's how it's going to be, where they're just going to end up in a gauntlet and they're not going to be able to have the horses. And the last two teams before I get into the deep dive are Ohio State and Penn State. And these two teams, the region they're in is, will their coach get their head out of their ass? That's true. That's what it comes down to. For Penn State, on paper, next to LSU, probably the best team in the country. If I have to hear another thing about Drew Aller, I'm gonna hurt somebody because I didn't see it last year. And that's what I talked about with Iowa. I need to see the scheme. You know the defense is going to play. You know the defense is going to show up. Are they going to be able, or at least are they going to choose to throw the ball? And I don't think they will, because they're returning the two best, not the best duo, the best two running backs not named Love. No, not Jordan Love, my Pookie Bear. I'm talking about Love, the running back from Notre Dame who has like a 8-foot hurdle. And I think they'll run the ball. So we'll see. But I think they'll compete, and I think they'll make the playoffs again. And then Ohio State. Ohio State's got a 2-game schedule. Their first game and their last game. You play Texas at home, need it. And you're at Michigan. Then the season. Ryan Day, I think he's got a little bit of a monkey off his back. Winning the national championship. Guess what? Got to beat Michigan. And I can't say that they will when last year was a perfect opportunity, when that was the worst Michigan team in years, and they couldn't do it. They could not do it. So what am I supposed to say when they're going to Michigan? Regardless of how I feel about Michigan, it's a rivalry game. Got to show up. Got to show up. I need another sip for this, dude. I think Michigan's at an interesting time. Michigan will always recruit well. They have so much money. They have so much of a base. They have so much of a market that people are going to want to naturally go there, and they have the money to get the people that they want now in NIL. But let's be honest. Even before Harbaugh, they got the guys they wanted. They had good recruits. They just weren't well coached. Harbaugh walked into a good situation. Brady Hoke, Rich Rod, those guys, they had dogs, man. Say what you want. They had dogs. And then you get Harbaugh in, and Harbaugh's, the QB guru, and, Colin Kaepernick, pre-knee. Like, they were dogs. He was getting guys. Small problem. He wasn't winning. He wasn't winning the big games. Before he started cheating, he had never won the conference that he coached in. Never. At Stanford, at Michigan, name it. What do? They cut his salary in half, and then, hey, this Stallions kid looks like a real promising young fellow. And they ball out. Then he goes to the NFL to try to get away for some sanctions or whatever the fuck. I mean, half his coaching staff is up on charges for some bullshit. Whether it's texting a 13-year-old or illegally, hacking students' accounts and photos or whatever it is. Whatever it is. I mean, what a complete dumpster. You won't hear about it, though. You won't hear about it. But then Cheryl Moore takes over. And am I supposed to believe that this is the guy that you want to lead your program? I don't buy it. They went 8-4 last year. And outside of the service academies, they had the worst passing game in the NCAA. Check it. So you can make a case that, hey, if they had somebody with a pulse under center, man, they might be a playoff team. But if you watch those games, I watched them escape against USC, escape against Minnesota. That Michigan State game, we lost that game. They didn't win that game. We gave that. I think they'll take a step forward under Bryce Underwood, but if I didn't think they were an 8-4 team last year, I think they'd probably just end up where they were. And they're doing the same thing they always do. This is the guy. First overall pick this year. This guy's a second coming of Christ. Naming my firstborn son after him. He's Cam Newton in his prime. They do this with every guy they get. They do it with Joe Milton. Don't you remember Joe Milton? He's got a golden penis. That guy. Let's check in on him. Every single guy. And I'm supposed to put my faith into a guy who's never taken a college snap. I'm sorry. A guy who, let's be honest, is from Michigan but didn't want to go there. You had to pay him a bag to go there. He was on a one-way flight to Baton Rouge. And you paid him. But they want to say that he's some Michigan guy. Hey, sorry. Don't know how much I buy it. Depending on how this year goes, he could be a one and done. We'll see. I just don't know how much confidence I have in a true freshman QB going into Oklahoma week 2. Michigan will tell you it's going to be a blowout. Okay. We'll see. I think they'll improve. I think they'll be an 8-4, 9-3 team. And the sanctions supposedly come out tomorrow. The final ruling. Or at least today, depending on when you listen to this. I'm recording this Thursday night Pacific time. And I hope with the sanctions and everything, I hope their wins get vacated and they have to shut down their program. So. God. I just can't stand my fucking team, man. Michigan State's so exhausting. And I think we need to give a breakdown of how we've got to this point. Because under D'Antonio, we built a winning culture. We won. We had guys who went to school for 4 years that had 40 wins under their belt. Dogs. And it's tough at Michigan State. You're looked down on. You have to go out recruit Notre Dame, Ohio State, Michigan. It's a tough ask. But D'Antonio took the role of an underdog and said, you know what, I might not be able to recruit your guys, but I'll develop my guys better than you. And he did. We'll take the 3 stars you don't want, and we'll make them a mid-round draft pick. And then we go to the playoffs in 2015, and we shouldn't have even got off the bus. And we hadn't done shit since. The whole developing, ground and pound, we're a tough team. Fucking, we look dead. He stopped recruiting and stopped developing. And our coaching staff, what a joke that was. And so what does he do going into 2020? It's early February 2020. We give him a structured bonus. Deserve it. Thanks for coming. A couple days before his second national signing day. Hey guys, I'm gonna go spend some time with my family. I'm gonna go tend to the rabbits. See ya. So what do? We scramble. We scramble. Take a guy on low experience in Mel Tucker. Never really coached a lot of places, or he did, but was only for a year. Looked promising at Colorado, but was only there for a year. So now what? Bring in Mel Tucker during COVID, and COVID season, we beat Michigan, sure. I'm not going to hang my hat on it, but I'll take it. And then going into my senior year of college, which was sick, is we get this guy named Kenneth Walker from Wake Forest, and he's fucking Barry Sanders. And we beat Michigan, and we go to the New York Six, and we beat Pitt, and it was a great season. But you could tell even watching those games, it was a bad team. It was a bad team. There was a lot of flaws. And you started to realize that. You started to realize that, okay, maybe what we were sold on, maybe this is some Cutco knife scenario. Because the coaches sucked. And the players weren't good. And, oh my God. Name the dumbest guy you know. Name him. Name him. They don't even come close to Mel Tucker. Because, and I don't like to talk about this, but ever since I went to Michigan State, which is, I started school there in 2018, we've been under some bad press nationally. Some deserved, some not deserved. But going into Michigan State was right after the Larry Nassar scandal. And I think it's important to touch on that because I think if you go to Michigan State, you're an alumni there, you feel it. And I think we always spoke out against it. But I think with that being said, with what happened as a base, as a student body, as an alumni base, as founders, as coaches, as faculty, said, we're going to stand up against this and we're going to speak out. We're going to invite people in to talk to us. We're going to be a part of different boards. We're going to bring in people to talk to our students and our staff about what it means to advocate for this, or against this, rather. And so Mel Tucker brings in a sexual assault survivor to talk to his students about his players about being a better person. And what I would do if I were in his shoes is, if I brought in that person, if I was on a recruiting trip in Florida that's being paid for by the university, is if she FaceTime or called me, I would start rubbing one out. That's what I would do. Yeah, she's pretty attractive, starts talking to me. Might start playing a little five-knuckle shuffle, because fuck it. You wore the ribbon, Mel. You wore the ribbon. You talk to these kids about being better men. You know the university you're at. You know what's gone into it. What the fuck is wrong with you? What the dumbest guy? Oh, it was actually consensual. Doesn't matter. You married. See. And thank God, from a university standpoint, because we have to pay that dumbass any money. We have to buy him out. We didn't nothing. He got tossed out of court. Thank God, honestly. I'm so sorry for her. That's awful. It's an awful scenario. As a fan, thank you. So then what do? Just like in politics, we overcorrect. Oh, we didn't like Obama? Let's go this fucking blowhard. Oh, well, we didn't like Mel Tucker? We didn't like that? Well, he was flashy in your face a little bit, more of like a culture reset. Let's go to more of an MSU style guy. More low key. We went from a coach with a rocket in his pants to a guy who hasn't touched his wife in 10 years. And I like that. I like that. I think Jonathan Smith kind of embodies Michigan State in a way of like, hey, we're going to run the ball. We're going to stop the run. Develop programs. Turn Oregon State. Turn Corvallis, Oregon into a decent destination. I mean, who the fuck wants to go there? But they got guys. And the thought was, okay, we're going to bring in this guy, and now we've got a much bigger budget, bigger school, bigger conference. The sky might be the limit. This guy might put MSU back on track. Couple problems. He didn't understand the landscape. Didn't understand what he was walking into. He said after we lost in Michigan, and I quote, "Experience is any guide. It's passionate. Neither side likes each other, and that's why I go back." It's pretty frustrating. No shit, Johnny. No shit. In his first press conference, he said that he was a part of a rivalry. He was on the same side as Michigan State, the team that's, less revenue, less alumni base, yada, yada. It's not the same. You can't go from Toledo Bowling Green to the Iron Bowl and say, yeah, I've been in one of these before. It's not the same. People fight over this rivalry. People die over this rivalry. Your tenure at Michigan State will be determined by your record against the team 90 miles away or whatever the fuck it is. Figure it out. You used to be able to have time. You used to be able to have 3 years to get a school back on track. You don't anymore. With the transfer portal, you saw Indiana put themselves on the map in 1 year. Figure it out. Figure it out. I think we improved. I think Childs is going to take another step forward. I think we made great additions to the O-line. I think we made good additions defensively. Defensively, we actually weren't terrible running, stopping the run and running the ball both sides. It's going to be, does our QB know what color we're wearing that day? And also, do our DBs, can they fucking stop anybody? Bend, don't break. Bend don't break. Bitches ended up in a fucking wheelchair. Bend, don't break. Brutal. And I think we've improved. All that being said, any better hope that we do. Because there are expectations with a top 15 program. And by top 15, I mean alumni base, revenue, attendance. You're in the best conference. Yeah, 8-4, it's great in Corvallis. I'm tired of it. If he goes 8-4, if he doesn't go 8-4 or 7-5 and beat Michigan, see it. Guillotine his ass. I don't give a fuck. Get him out of here. It's the times of wait till next year are over. We're getting passed by. And if you don't look, the train's going to keep on moving. So I think the team is going to be good. I think 8-4 is the floor. I say that for my mental health and for the physical safety of everybody around me. But that's just how I feel. And with our new AD that's looking to make changes, he better wake the fuck up. Because Michigan State's got some hefty donors with some hefty pockets, and they're tired of losing. And I know if I get another call asking me to help out in the NIL fund, and we trot out another team that cannot score in a fucking whorehouse, I'm gonna shoot somebody. And it's probably gonna be my cat. Shout out Big O. So that's a breakdown. God, it felt good. It felt really good. And going forward, you expect this every week, every Thursday night, or maybe Friday morning, depending what time zone you're in. About 8 to 12 matchups that I'm fired up about. There might be some There might be some over-unders. There might be some totals. Might say, oh, Iowa's playing Nebraska and it's minus 20 out. Yeah, this game, ooh, smash the under. Smash the under. Don't even watch the game. Don't even watch the game. Oh, what's the score when it kicks off? That's going to be the score when the game ends. But look forward to that. I'm not going to be sending out the text going forward. I used to do that last year. You should just know, look, Thursday, Friday. Just know it's there. Give you a little something to chat about on your lunch on Friday. Is there any good deals? Friday in and out's usually the move. Let's get that tomorrow. But ball is back. And so is the Sweat Boys. And I'm going to be more excited for this year. And we'll talk to you next week. See ya!